here and there because they're putting on basically a show for the American people, and the American people have to buy the show. So it looks really very real. But in essence, they've already know what's going on behind the scenes. All of this has been planned for many, many, many years, decades, millennia. So this is just an acting out, an actualization, an out-picturing of what already has been planned. It's no surprise for the people who are running the show. It's only a surprise for the American people. And pulling Sarah Palin out of the bag, like you said, it's like all of a sudden, boom, let's focus on Hillary, and everybody's going that way. And they threw somebody out new. It's like fresh blood. So, of course, she's got the attention. If she'd been drug out like Hillary, people would have been bored with her, too. That's why she's getting the attention. And even people who normally would not even be religious, right, they're not even paying attention to her words. They're thinking, wow, female, vice president, and they're hopping on board. This is the general masses I'm talking about, because it's new and something fresh, and to them it's hope. They're not even reading or hearing the message or learning or listening to the background. They're desperate for something different, and in the immediate glance, that's what she represents.
Well, now, with that being a case, and should we see, Stewart, it seems that you're pretty much convinced that we're going to have a McCain presidency, and you're probably not far from being right. It all would all depend. My personal take on it is probably would, if things go in the way they have in the past two elections in 2004 and 2000, yeah, it's going to be the same thing. They'll manipulate the machines, and then here we are once again right back where we were 8 years ago. But with that said, we seem to talk a little bit more about the staged second coming, because in both occasions, last time we talked about it, we touched on it. Tell us about this staged second coming, since we are kind of really talking about Jmmanuel.
All right, but before I go into that, I just want to throw into the mix politically that within the next few weeks, it's very likely that Iran will be attacked. And that might be a coalition of Israeli, U.S., and British armed forces that do that. And so on election day, if we are at war with Iran, it would be very unlikely that the political situation or the Republican Party would be thrown out, since we're in the midst of all of this, and it's very scary to stop something abruptly when soldiers are being killed and countries are being invaded. So that's another thing that might be thrown into the mix as part of the scenario that you just mentioned, because as the world is thrown into this war, which will become global, there needs to be some kind of a diversion from it, and that's where the staged alien invasion comes in, because then the world has to unite against the common enemy. We can't have fighting and wars on the earth when we're all being attacked from beyond the planet. Isn't that what President Reagan said in the 1980s?
He sure did.
The UN, when he said the world would have to unite if there was an alien force that attacked the world. Well, he's basically telling everyone what their plan was, and that was years ago or more.
And please remind them what the Pope recently said.
Yes, and then the Pope, not exactly the Pope, but the Vatican issued a statement from an Argentinian priest within the Vatican that said that the aliens are our brothers under Christ. Where'd that come from?
It makes me laugh when you do it. But I mean, I shouldn't be laughing because it's probably very serious at the same time, but to hear that coming from the Vatican.
Right. I mean, did you ever think that the Vatican would...
Exactly.
And, centuries saying we're the only ones and only, Christ created only the earth, and now they're saying the aliens are our brothers and we should embrace them. Well, I'll tell you why. Because when the earth is attacked, we probably will never be shown the physical characteristics of the ones attacking. They will be using the bluebeam project, where they project holographic images into the atmosphere so that we think we're seeing spaceships attack. And of course, the satellites around the Earth will be shooting lasers at the Earth, so we think that we're being attacked by aliens, when in fact it's satellite transmissions. And then, lo and behold, the savior alien race will come, who's been following these evil aliens that are attacking us, and the savior alien race will chase away these evil aliens and then save the Earth. So, of course, they will be our savior. See, so they are our holy ancestors, and then the stage is set for the second coming of Christ, who will appear. His blood will be identified genetically to the Shroud of Turin, which just a year or so ago, Hebrew University in Jerusalem said they analyzed the blood on the Shroud of Turin, and they actually found pollen samples in it that could have only come from the Middle East 2,000 years ago. So in effect, they re-verified the age and veracity of the shroud. So then, here you have this guy coming, who's actually a clone of that blood, and who's going to deny the genetics? It's the identical match to the Shroud of Turin. Who's going to say he isn't who he is? See?
Absolutely.
So he will proclaim the New World Order as his new holy empire, and the reptilians as his, our Christian brothers. And there you go. And everything's all wrapped up into a nice, neat little package.
Just as it is explained in Revelations, whereas this second coming really is going to be, as it's detailed in Revelation, Christ will come down, he will take over the earth, we will reign with him, and we will all be a part of that great 1,000-year reign. The question that I've always had, and I've said it many times on this program, not just this year, but last year, maybe from the year before, is that, do we really know what we're going to be worshiping? Well, we just kind of answered that in this particular conversation. Now, with that being the case, and Janet, I come to you because, and I do that purposely because I remember in our conversation you were discussing God mind and discussing how that comes into play and utilizing it even in the face of very, very challenging times. And I'll give an example on a personal level. I took with me what you said about the whole situation with the gas prices going up. And I tell you, personally, that was a particular topic that was a sore topic for me, because my wife will tell you, every day of the week I was bitching and complaining about gas, and every trip to the gas pump was almost like, I could almost punch out this gas tank right now. But after hearing you say that and me utilizing that technique that we discussed, things became very, very different. And it was even different to the point where we took a wonderful vacation down in Myrtle Beach and gas was not even an issue, even though it was close to $4 a gallon. Now, with that said, how do we utilize the God mind principle, and what type of preparation or what type of recourse do we have in the face of what's about to approach us here on this planet?
What's really interesting, again, is, as I mentioned when Stewart and I took the trip to France, and it was really about taking out what's hidden. And that's what's going to be happening, this play upon the human race, so to speak, is they're continuing to hide the truth. And they can only hide the truth for so long because God mind itself is always in balance. Mm-hmm. And there are always going to be people who will have the truth. And if you live that and if you change what's going on inside of yourself, your bright light is going to shine on these shadows. And so the best thing that anybody can do is continue to work on themselves, because the more you know who you are, then the less other people are going, or things are going to be able, or situations are going to be able to fool you. And so if more and more people just went, no big deal, it's going to go away. So the only way it's going to go away is for people to continue to find their own hidden truths, and then they're going to see the truth outside of themselves. And then it's not going to be a big deal. What they're counting on is people's reaction. They're counting on people to buy the story. When people don't buy it and there isn't any reaction, they go, no big deal. Now, you may say, well, a lot of people are going to buy this story. I mean, it's going to look really good out there, and there are a lot of people who don't have all this background information. That's fine. Maybe this is their lesson, but it doesn't have to be yours. And you never exactly know how it's going to play out, because that's part of the reason that we're here. But just because it's out there doesn't mean you have to participate in it emotionally or mentally or spiritually or any such way. You have